Alright, hey y'all, this is Dr. Padre. I'm going to do our last test, which is going to be for fats, and this is called the Sudan IV test. Y'all also have a, I think, grease spot test in your Odigia labs, and that grease spot test you do like on a coffee filter. This is a Sudan IV test. We usually do this on a coffee filter as well, but because y'all are using the Odigia labs, we're going to be doing it via test tube this time. I saved this for last, and I'm doing all of the tests kind of at once because the chemical reagent for this Sudan IV is a little bit, for me, on the dangerous side. It's carcinogenic, which means over a long period of time in large doses, it can actually, it can cause cancer, and it's been shown to cause cancer in lab rats. It's also a teratogen, which means if someone is pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant or trying to get pregnant, it can unfortunately affect the development of their unborn fetus or embryo. So this is a more dangerous chemical compound, and I have to be a little bit more careful with this, so I decided to do this all in one go. Well, and I spilled it. Wonderful. Okay. This entire thing is going to go into the trash. The chemical trash. I have to make a chemical trash for this. Okay, so here's our Sudan IV. This is also going to be a colorimetric test, which just means that we're looking for a color change. And the color change that we're going to be looking for is going to be subtle. You're going to see really a deepening or darkening of this Sudan IV color from like this rosy red to a kind of a deeper red. So if you're red-green colorblind, let me know privately. You can shoot me an email. What I'll do then is I'll try to make sure that I label anything for tests or quizzes as either being red or green. That way, if you're red-green colorblind, your results will not be affected. You won't have a problem trying to interpret the results if you're red-green colorblind. Let's go ahead and put in our negative control, which, as you probably guessed, is water. So we're going to put in about 3 milliliters of water, and that's what our negative control looks like. The Sudan IV test, when it's just testing something that is negative for fat, looks like that. And I should say that this is a test that tests for fat. Sudan tests for the presence of fats and lipids and oils and grease and all that wonderful stuff. Take a look at this. This is going to be awesome. So I'm putting in vegetable oil, which is our negative result. Which is our positive control. I'm sorry, positive control for Sudan IV. And you'll see something really interesting happen. This is like my favorite, y'all. So take a look at this. Yeah. So I'm going to swirl this up really good. And what's going to happen in a bit is that the Sudan IV is going to incorporate into the fat of the vegetable oil. And we're going to have to keep on swirling. Yeah. And we have to wait. And I'm really trying to get the stuff at the bottom, because that's the stuff that I want to get into the oil. And what you should see is the separation of color. With Sudan IV, it should incorporate into the fat molecules of the oil. And when that happens, you should see the kind of the pinky color of this kind of pink, turn into a darker red. So we're going to wait. This is kind of gross. Like I said, like I feel like 95% of biology at the bench is like gross and awesome at the same time. Oh, I wish you could see this. Maybe I'll add more water. That way you guys can see the difference. Because it's interesting. And everything smells like olive oil right now because that's the oil that I used. Hang on. 1, 2. 1, 2. Oh, that's so gross. Do you see this? Oh, y'all. This is so awesome and gross at the same time. Take a look. This is a negative control for fat and oil for our Sudan IV test. You can see all of the red is kind of distributed evenly in this aqueous solution. Fine. This is our positive control. On the bottom is all of the aqueous water, just the water. And of course, you know, Sudan IV, because it likes to find lipid and dissolve into it, doesn't hang around in the water. You can see that the water on the bottom of this tube is a lot lighter than the water in here. Where the red has gone, where the Sudan IV has gone, is really into the oil part, the top part of that tube. Do you see how dark and red that is and how light this is? Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of gross, but it's also a great positive control for this Sudan IV lipid test. Sudan IV is lipophilic, and that's just a long way of saying it likes to incorporate itself into fats and lipids. And when it does, you can see it leaves the aqueous layer, leaves it kind of a pinky color, and turns that fat lipid layer like a darker rosy red. Like a darker red, and this stays like a light pinky rosy red. So negative, positive. We're going to go ahead and test our food substances. Yes, I'm excited by this, y'all, for fat. And just for the sake of consistency, I'm going to add a little bit of water to these tubes, just like we did to the fat. This is like my favorite experiment. It's also the most hazardous that we have in your lab. So I'm actually glad that we're doing this virtually so you guys don't get harmed. All right, let's go ahead and do, what did we do first? I think we did milk first. So let's go ahead and do milk first. All right, we're going to use our milk pipette. We're going to put milk, we're going to test milk for the presence of lipid. And remember, we're looking for that kind of separation of color and fat in Sudan IV. Oh, this is so gross and awesome at the same time. All right, I'm going to swirl this. Gross, y'all. All right, I'm going to let that sit for a while. Same with the, what did we do next? Did we do potato? Let's do potato. This is going to be potato. And as I'm doing this, you can kind of think for yourself in the back of your head, do we think it's going to be a positive test? Do we think it's going to be a negative test? Does potato have fat? Does milk have fat? You can think about that. Okay, those are potatoes. Let's do, what do you say? Want to do almonds next? Oh. And the trick to this is that you have to heat up the almonds a little bit, to be honest. That really gets the reaction going, and you see a better reaction if you heat the almonds up. So let's do almonds. Y'all, I'm so grossed out by this. Now there is a little bit of a limitation because I've dissolved all of these substances in water, and as you remember, water and oil don't mix. So there is the kind of drawback that as I do this, really I'm dissolving the substances in something that's not soluble in lipid in the first place. And then second of all, I'm testing that then solution for fat. So you can imagine the limitation in this. Because I'm using water as a solvent, I will really decrease the amount of fat I can examine in my chemical reactions. But we'll do our best. Alright, this is egg. This is egg, y'all. And finally our orange juice, which I need to add and forgot. So hang on for a second. Okay. Oop, that's potassium iodide. Alright. Oh, I think I'm out. Poop. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to add orange juice to the negative control tube. So, if you can bear with me. Just pretend that this negative control, which was water, is now our experiment. And we're going to add orange juice to this. So, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split these tubes in half. That wasn't half. Alright, close enough. So that's our negative control. Let's go ahead and add our orange juice to this. And again, we're looking for that separation of fat and the concentration of color. Alright, so again, negative control, kind of a pinky color, one layer. Positive control, there's a red, concentrated red color, kind of in the middle. Nice stratification. Okay, these are our potatoes. This is, as you can see, kind of just one pink color all the way through, right? So this is negative for fat. Potatoes don't have fat. They do have starch. These are our almonds. We're going to give it more time to separate. Oh, look at that! This is gross, guys. Y'all can already see the separation happen, huh? Yeah. So this is our egg white. There's a little bit of fat in this, not as much as that you would see in our egg yolk, but this is so gross, guys. There's a little bit of fat in our egg yolk, or sorry, in our egg white, a little bit, but way more in the egg yolk. Gross, yeah? Cool and gross. Cool and gross, which is like, again, 95% of biology. Cool and gross. And then, of course, orange juice. One color, no fat in orange juice. Alright, let's go back to our almonds, which I think is this. And let's go back to our milk. This is gross. Sorry. The almond is separating out a little bit. Like if I heat this up and give it enough time, this almond solution would probably clarify a bit towards the bottom and get cloudier towards the top. This milk has fat in it, and I think it's just so well incorporated into the fat in the milk that it's just this color all the way through. But anyway, the milk is positive for fat. Almonds are positive for fat. They have kind of a cloudiness going on to them, and to me that's indicating that there are different layers, but they have yet to be separated. Our potatoes are negative for fat. You could already see the layers in this. That egg is positive for fat, and the orange juice is negative for fat. Okay? Those are your results for the fat test. For salmon, that would be positive, but again, because salmon's $9 a pound, I think I'm going to eat it instead of use it as an experiment. Sorry, y'all. Cool. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you enjoyed these videos, and good luck on your lab. Bye.